That was a big smile. Wow.
Yeah. I do. Got the world's best smile.
Hello and welcome back to CAIRNcast. This is episode 8 and we're really getting into the swing of things now.
Oh yeah.
The consistency of our posting dates is impeccable. And you might have noticed some toing and froing of the most recent podcast. We're not going to touch heavily on that, but a kind of brief idea of our kind of stand on things. Obviously what we're trying to do with this is to add a commentary to specialty coffee topics, news items, interesting dialogues about specialty coffee. So quite often we'll jump on something relatively quick to explore it, like we're going to today. But obviously the motive for doing that is to add positivity and community to what we're trying to do. So if we feel we miss that, we are quite keen to address it.
Yeah.
So you may have noticed the current YouTube video for episode 7, which is up there somewhere, to and fro's a wee bit backwards and forwards. But enough on that. Today we're here to talk about something even more exciting.
Yeah.
Which is...
Well, is it? Well, yeah.
Well, I do feel like it's something we've talked about quite a lot, but it's something we're really passionate about.
Yeah.
And I got an email yesterday, not an exclusive, just a mailing list from one of our biggest inspirations when it comes to packaging, to let us know that they are changing their coffee bags. Many of you will know of the company 5 Elephant based in Berlin. They have this week, well, just yesterday, announced that they are changing their sleeves to be stickers on their bags. As far as I can tell, I can't find much information on it, but there's a picture.
And you say historically quite iconic packaging.
I think it's massively iconic packaging for specialty coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the OGs really of doing kind of similar to what we do with the Guilty Pleasures, like a bit of a wraparound sleeve type vibe. Jack's obviously going to slap that up in the middle of the picture here, where we'll see some 5 Elephants packaging. But
can you make it so I'm holding it?
If you stop shaking the desk, I think maybe that's it.
But to give an idea of their thinking, just quickly when I scroll through this, they are talking about enhancing customers' coffee drinking experience. As a company, they recognize the responsibility to reduce environmental footprint, and they're committed to making positive change that will benefit the customers and the planet. So the new bags are CO2 neutral, focused on reducing waste and promoting a more environmentally healthy life cycle.
So we're obviously going to chat a lot about packaging end to end today, but I think what we will touch on probably most is the biggest driver for most people changing their packaging nowadays will be linked to the environmental impact of their packaging, I would think.
For sure.
And so it's quite positive to see, 5 Elephant doing that. I think it's sometimes a bit, we'll probably touch on this as well. Packaging's really hard. I mean, we've looked at a lot, and the recyclability of packaging in particular is often very questionable. Bags will say they are recyclable on them. They're not technically recyclable, or you need to take them to supermarkets, all that kind of stuff. So it's good to see 5 Elements going down that case. We probably need to look at it in a bit more depth to be like, how easily recyclable? All those kind of questions are.
I mean, in Berlin, I don't know what stance they're at. Obviously, they ship worldwide, but I think the UK are quite behind when it comes to...
I think so. I can imagine that in Berlin and Germany, the standards are very, very high. So I would think 5 Elephants are probably absolutely... Their new packaging will nail it. Great to hear it's carbon neutral as well. Like, I think everyone should probably be moving in that direction as well.
One interesting thing is that they're opting now for stickers. Whilst before if you're not aware, it was a cardboard sleeve that houses a plain heat printed, or it did have a logo on the bag, but there wasn't any adhesive stickiness or anything. And my query on recyclable packaging is always like, do you need to take the sticker off? And if not, is the sticker the same recyclability as the bag? And I think in some respects it's almost easier to take a cardboard sleeve off, recycle it, and recycle the bag. Anyway, I don't know a clue. What they've not even actually announced it.
They've just given you a sneak peek. Direct email to Robbie.
No, but I'm super always inspired by 5 Elephant, always have been. So I'm sure whatever they've done here is going to be fantastic. The one interesting thing is they have added a barcode to the sticker at the front by the looks of things. So it's interesting to see whether this change is being guided by supermarkets or not? I mean, I can imagine a supermarket want things to be as clearly coffee as possible, and a sticker on a coffee bag, does look quite clearly like coffee.
Yeah.
As soon as you start putting things into boxes, there's the query whether then it looks less like coffee and makes it harder for consumers to engage with.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's an interesting topic. Obviously, lots of people do. There's so many different types of packaging, isn't there? And I do wonder, you look at a supermarket shelf, they are mostly in bags, very sensible looking bags, I'd say. There's not many weird and wonderful. I always think Waitrose at the moment in the UK has got quite a good selection of specialty coffee. Oh, God.
They have Union.
That wasn't a very positive thing to say, was it? We'll get cancelled for that. They do have specialty coffee, but it's very cheap.
Yeah.
Like Waitrose have some very cheap coffee in there, which is interesting. Should we shout out some of your other inspiration from a packaging point of view? Because there's it's such a so wide.
Yeah.
Like so many people have such different packaging. So who's some of the coolest packaging? Jack again is going to slap these up in the middle.
Do they have to be coffee?
No, go for it. Robbie loves packaging. Like you absolutely love packaging.
Well,
so
like the classic Apple packaging is like it makes you do that.
Yeah.
Like the kind of feel of Apple products being opened gives you already the impression of what you're going to experience with the product itself.
So we had Mother's Day, which we're filming this on a Tuesday, Mother's Day at the weekend, and I was sitting with Kat's mum and stepdad, and we're kind of chatting. He received, and it was a Garmin related something, and it was like the packaging was too nice to throw away, but obviously I'm going to throw it away. But I think a lot of people, since Apple obviously absolutely revolutionized the packaging and unpacking of items, a lot of people now, especially at the high end, jump on that bandwagon. Obviously Sonos's packaging is absolutely incredible as well. It's so slick.
I don't think I've ever I have bought one. I don't think most of the stuff from Sonos I bought has been off country, so.
You've been stealing it. Right, Jack.
All I'd say is it makes you want to keep it, but you do actually keep it as well. Because like for a lot of the big Apple products, you want to keep the packaging, like the iMac one especially, like for transporting. So it means you don't have this big ugly box sitting around. Like you actually have a piece that doesn't look that bad.
I have something to say on that, like the keeping element.
Yeah.
Because if you're buying a MacBook or you're buying a really expensive bit of clothing and it's a nice reminder of that thing and you keep it for whatever reason, that's great. And I think that is the inspiration that we've gone down with our packaging. The issue with that then is I think it probably makes customers feel uncomfortable when they then buy it a third and fourth and fifth time and then they have to throw it away and then they feel almost guilty or bad about it. And I guess, I don't know the psychology of buying, but I would be pretty certain that you don't in any aspect of the process want them to feel bad about something.
Agree. Like if I was to rummage around the drawers in my house, there would be like 5 iPhone boxes. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? I hate.
But if you're buying one every week, then you'd be like, this is...
If you break your phone once every 2 months.
I've been trying to break this one for ages so I can get a new one.
Just so you can unbox it. That's another part of, obviously the Instagram and the social media trending generation, essentially, of unboxing as well is a thing. And so packaging and unboxing of packaging has also become a thing. But we kind of got sidetracked there. So Apple absolutely revolutionized the packaging industry, I would say. Who's next? Who else? Maybe non-coffee as well. Quite like
non-coffee. I'll tell you something that I don't think does very well is the shoe industry. Like Nike, for example. I love the product, but when you open a box, it's literally it's a functional thing. It's a practical. There's crepe paper. There's nothing about it which feels special.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's
quite interesting.
It's quite hard. Shoes are, obviously
they're trying to make them cheap as possible. Basically.
They are, and Trina, the shoes are incredibly bulky to store. So if we have 100 pairs of shoes, it takes up so much space. Like a lot of our shoes are over in the office because the boxes are big. But obviously, if you've got heaps of shoes, I agree. There you go, Robbie. Absolutely, there. Set up a shoe boxing company.
We were in chats with a shoe company last year or the year before about a product. But there's been quite a few times I've gone off on a tangent and it's involved importing from Asia. Yeah. And I've got really excited. And then once you're actually looking at minimum order quantities, like the cost of shipping. It's a less attractive proposition. Basically, in business, you don't want to sit on inventory, and if you've then got to buy thousands of units of a product,
which is basically how Alibaba works, isn't it? So
yeah,
you go on Alibaba, the MOQ is always like 50,000 pieces.
It's like, oh god, like I can get a tamper for 30p, and then you're like, yeah, you need to buy 5 million. But
not so good.
I only need one.
Well, let's go to the coffee industry then. Who's doing a really good job? Yeah, I think there's lots that spring to mind.
So we've talked quite recently, as recent as yesterday, about Onyx, which was an inspiration for us. They were kind of the other coffee box packaging which had that shoom kind of concept, and I think it's hard to know, but like with them, I would imagine a large proportion of their success has been attributed to the quality of their packaging. But from that point, like that's what's maybe initially encouraged interest, and then you have to compound that with quality. So it's like you can't just have that. But
what other, I think we maybe have touched on this slightly before, what other businesses the packaging can drive the sales so heavily? Like what other things are you like, oh, that wine, I think that's where we're chatting about it. Wine is one of those ones where you really are like, oh, that bottle looks cool, so I'll maybe buy it. Yeah, very, very interesting.
I bought a few like nice bottles of whiskey as well, which have come in, you can get them in hard boxes of like wooden box. Yeah. That's a pretty luxe experience. And
it's interesting though, because it's kind of, you do not know about the quality of the product inside.
No.
So you're just basing that on this packaging looks high quality, so the product must be.
Veuve Clicquot did a thing where they had orange tins. Yeah. And they would have like Cape Town or like Edinburgh written on them. And I'm like, if you're looking at that next to a bottle of another bottle, Tattinger or whatever, and it's just it's a bottle in a box, or it's not even in a box. I'm like, you're always within a price limit going to go for that because it's something you can keep. Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, you're not buying a bottle of champagne every week. I mean, maybe you are. You live in Stockbridge. But again, it's like you're not buying, even with Onyx, I'm like, here, I think like they're very, very special coffees quite often. And I think if you're buying a really special coffee once a month, it's a really cool thing to keep. But I don't think the problem that we might run into and we might discuss is if someone is on a curated subscription, or they are getting their coffee every week or coming into the shop every 3 days, especially if they're using it for espresso and they've got a Sage machine at home, you'll quite easily chew through 250 grams in a few days, in a week or whatever. Yeah. Then I feel like people are more concerned about their footprint, and they're less inclined or likely to want to have that special experience every time. And I get probably rather pay less to not have it.
Well, exactly. And I think we can maybe segue into that then, because obviously the cost of packaging, which people probably don't get, is very, very high. And I think another industry where packaging is absolutely critical is like perfume and aftershave. So you think obviously some bottles, the cost of those bottles will be enormous. So you think some perfumes are maybe 100 quid for, 100 mils or whatever it'll be. The bottle cost will be enormous. And obviously they will have high order quantities, but the packaging element of that is very high. And I think, like we were discussing there, if you are a curated subscription or just a regular buyer of something, do you want to be spending £1 or £2 on the packaging every time you buy? And we've talked about this a lot from a zero waste point of view as well. It's wasteful. And so what is the cost of our boxes, basically? We can start with that.
We should have had the numbers in front of us. I think when we originally did it, it was about £1 for the box. Yeah. On top of that, it's like 50p for the bag. Yeah. On top of that, it's like 30p, 40p for the business card.
You're shaking this table. Sorry. Absolutely crazy.
Getting excited. Getting excited talking about all the money we're wasting.
Yeah. So what's that?
Sounds like we're near £2.
Near £2.
Which is, it's
probably too much.
And I don't think our coffees in the marketplace are expensive. Yeah. But I think we probably absorb quite a lot of that cost. So that's a consideration. I was thinking about another brand that wasn't coffee that we've had quite a long discussion about, after several pints in Glasgow, in Queen Street Station, we looked up and they had a massive Harris gin advert. And I was like, we talked quite extensively. I think this was before we did the boxes.
Yeah.
But it might not have been. But we talked about how that being so outside the box, excuse the pun, of like what you'd expect from a gin bottle probably has pushed them in a short space of time far beyond their rivals.
Massively. And I think we were chatting about then, I would love to know what the original cost of those bottles was when they first started doing it, because I assume they absorbed a lot of that.
Yeah, just to make a splash.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of what we were aiming to do with this as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
But then we had to reprint them because we chewed through them. And now that's where we're now having this conversation about future-proofing, our next steps and what is the path beyond boxes potentially.
Well, exactly. Because we were the first people ever to put coffee in a box.
Well, we were extremely innovative.
No.
Insert the advert here. We'll just wait while you play that.
Yeah, the Apple advert. We obviously weren't. So I'll just caveat that before we get sued. There was coffee in boxes before. We thought about coffee and other things.
Yeah, and we're still exploring that.
Yeah, we are.
And that's another interesting aspect is in the next few weeks we probably will launch coffee in an alternative packaging, which is not less packaging, it's probably more, but it's more geared towards special coffees, which you will buy far less frequently.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where, for me, the box and the kind of extravagant packaging needs to sit.
More is more, is what you're saying there.
Within the coffee industry, I think more is more in a market where you're buying less. But pack more is less when you're in an industry market when you're buying more.
Yeah. So you want,
that's confusing.
But I think what we're saying there, and this is probably I guess the easiest way to conceptualize it, is that if the product in the box is higher value, the box can then be higher value.
Yes.
So
like the perfume is a good example.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be, whereas if your coffee is £9 and the box is £1, if you then sell that for £10, the box cost is 10% of the overall thing. Yeah, lots to go in on that. I think it's super interesting. But again, like you're saying, those special coffees, you're not going to be chucking those probably through your Sage machine. No. So they would be special. You would use them. Interestingly, it's maybe a concept we need to think about there. How could you freeze them? Obviously we're in Frederick Street where we serve frozen shots, and I'm like, freezing special coffees is definitely the way forward, isn't it?
I think you could freeze this
in this new
vessel.
It's
a boat.
Yeah. You've really made a rod for our backs there by saying it'll be coming out in a few weeks.
I know. By the time we get this out, it'll probably be out.
So, we touched then briefly on cost. I think cost, you look at us, Obadiah, Onyx, who else is using boxes? Dark Arts. So box plus bag plus stickers costs more money. And then so you look at the decision that Five Elephants have made. Is it Five Elephant? Or
Five Elephant.
No.
Just Five Elephant. No, it's curious.
But
they are quite...
Literally stopped me in my tracks.
There's a period, a full stop at the end of elephant. So
here we go. We've got
it's definitely...
No, we don't. Oh, yeah, we do.
Who is it?
Someone fully coming in. We're just... Hi there. We're not open.
Oh, sorry.
We should probably have locked the door.
The annoying thing about that is he'll literally never come back.
Yeah.
So we've just lost a customer for life, thanks to this podcast. I feel really bad for him as well.
There is a kind of closed sign, but not good enough. I also got stopped during a great point, which I can't remember what it was, about Five Elephant.
Yeah.
Not elephant, so Five Elephant. Is part of their decision. Obviously, they're saying there's a lot of sustainability pushing that, which I agree with. But also it costs less. The less packaging you have, the less it costs as well. So it seems to be better for everyone.
Yeah.
Planet and pocket.
They haven't... Oh... We would appreciate it if you don't post images of the new packaging on your social media until after launch on Thursday, the 23rd of March.
Yeah, that's fine.
So this is coming out on Thursday. Fantastic. That was lucky. Lucky I read the full email. I'm not very good at reading full emails. So that means it must be for wholesale Christmas.
No, God.
We're doing them a good
We
thing
are.
here.
We're pushing it.
The new bag also features improved seal technology to ensure the coffee stays fresher for longer. So you may receive a new pet. Blah blah. So,
but less packaging, less is more, is what this whole podcast is title probably.
And I think this is the time we're in. I would rather, and like it needs to be clear that taking away the high end packaging isn't a result of like we can then make more money. But I would rather pass on more saving to the customer to make it more affordable, to make more people drink our coffee.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we would probably stand in. But having said that, we're going to have our packaging for like a long time still.
Yeah,
it's just an interesting topic to discuss because I think it is probably one of the most important things for a coffee roastery.
Yeah,
it can make or break your business, and I think it's incredible that the distance coffee packaging has come in the past 5 years, and I think we're at a tipping point now where it's going to take off over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Once like recyclable packaging becomes more sophisticated, I think we're just at an interesting tipping point for specialty coffee. I think like more big companies are going to wake up to the fact they can develop materials which bag suppliers are going to absolutely lap up in China, and everyone, if you can get 5% of the specialty market, even you've got a good business.
Which I get that, and I think it's interesting you touched on there about the length of time we will have the existing packaging for, and I think it's important for people to realize these things take 6 months, probably almost a year potentially, to line everything up. And then the minimum order quantities, in order to get the prices down, you obviously need to order thousands of units.
Yeah.
And we sell thousands of units of retail coffee. I'm like, that is good, but it does take months to get through a lot of that packaging. I was interesting when I chatted about this with Catherine from Steampunk, very similar situation, but I think they were slightly ahead of us in that they've probably come through some of this already, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they're onto like this bags. They're back onto bags essentially, but they have been for ages. But she was also talking about the MOQs, the minimum order quantities, are enormous for small businesses. Like it really is a months to get through stock, so you can't make changes quickly.
No.
Whereas I think maybe some other companies can. I would love to know, some of the huge big businesses like Union, what does their packaging cost? It must be tiny percentage of the overall cost of the product.
Yes. Also, Square Mile, as an example, have a machine for Red Brick which makes the bags as and when they need them. They're obviously like then, I would say, inferior quality. They have other bags which are better, but for their real like guilty pleasure style house coffee, literally it's like it comes on massive reels and it just makes them, which is incredible.
That is incredible.
But those machines probably cost $100,000. I have no idea. But
but
I'd imagine you can see in the Union package bags which are in Waitrose or Sainsbury's or whatever.
Yeah,
you feel them and they are not the same. It's a different thing. It's not a coffee bag. It's like coffee supermarket packaging.
Yeah,
but that's what they need to be able to sell that at £4.50. You couldn't be spending 60p on a Dutch coffee pack bag, heat pressed from Amsterdam, and paying tax and all. It's just not plausible.
They will need to have bought 100,000. They will have bought hundreds of thousands of those bags probably, which is interesting. We also looked at pods. This would have been ages ago. We looked at pods, and I can't remember, the MOQ for the pods was absolutely obscene, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, the price was astronomical. So
and that's why you don't see more small roasters doing it.
Yeah,
because
I think it was 500,000 pods we needed to order. Something absolutely ridiculous. So it's MOQs is a huge driver, I think, of small businesses and their packaging. So you can't move necessarily that quickly, can you?
For sure.
And what we quite liked about the way, I guess, that we're doing our packaging is the cards, the insert cards, allow us a bit of flexibility around the packaging. So obviously the boxes stay the same and the bags inside them stay the same, but we can, play about with the cards, and that gives a bit of a pop.
And that was always like something that I was really wanted. Like I wanted it to be something that was super interactive, super engaging. Yeah. And I think obviously you do lose that when you, and it's the same with the 5 Alpha one. Like having that insert around it that you can keep and chuck away the bag is like a really nice element. People want to sit down, enjoy the coffee, and have some literature.
Yeah.
But I would imagine as we progress in 2023, that will have to come from online. It'll be QR codes or whatever it will be to try and get people to engage with that information elsewhere. Because having looking at this here, the 5 Elephant one, and like on their other one, they would have their wraparound sleeves. They would have some information on the farm. This seems to be a bit more refined, which is good. With ours, we're able to have the refined information on the front, and then on the reverse of the card, we've got more information. And I guess if you just have the sticker, you have to have it all there.
Yeah.
Unless you have a pull-off sticker, it'd be quite cool.
Yeah, it would be. I think a big thing that we don't do, and I doubt a lot of people do, is probably what does the customer want enough. And I think our packaging, we both love it. I was telling you a story of one of my friends who once came into Melville and bought a box of coffee. And literally ripped up the box in front of my eyes and just put it in the bin. And just took the bag. And I was like,
with the card, the insert, and everything.
Yeah, everything went in the bin while he was still standing in the shop.
Actually.
So it's funny.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
They do. But it's and that's part of it though. It's trying to cater for both sets of people, isn't it? You're trying to cater for someone who is like, I don't need the packaging, and then
you take the thumbnail, can I sort my hair?
Somebody does.
I remember that last one we did in here. I literally looked like I was going bald, and
you are going bald.
It was hard for me to put the teasers on Instagram because I just felt ill. I think people took pity on me because it got quite good engagement.
I think packaging's.
Should we? Yeah. How long have we been going for? 26 minutes. Let's go on to a quick. Quick thing, which is a bag manufacturer's website has a blog post which is which coffee packaging trends will boost your brand in 2023.
Sounds exciting.
And I'm interested to run them past you and get your feedback on them because I've not really read them either.
Cool.
Some cool packaging here though. Right, so
it's obviously a sales technique by the company. But
here is basically everything we have. Everything else terrible. First one is e-commerce ready packaging may become more popular. What does that mean?
As in stuff that can fit through letterboxes?
For roasters and coffee shops who would not customize packaging for online sales, there are manufacturers. The packaging materials withstand both postal and courier delivery. Additionally, the shape of the coffee bag may need to cater to sizes of letterbox. Yeah, I can see that. I think that's something we've considered as well.
Yeah.
It's tough. The Royal Mail are quite stringent.
Yeah, they are.
On sizing, which we found quite challenging. But it is, again, a reason why our boxes have maybe had some reticence from subscribers, especially.
Completely agree with that. I think there is a lot of subscriptions out there which do letterbox sized subscriptions.
Yeah, so we agree with that one.
Yeah. It's difficult again though. You can't have separate. Yeah. So
it says here, furthermore, 34% of packaging related returns are due to product damage due to ineffective packaging. Again, that is something we have experienced with the boxes.
Yeah, for sure.
They may be, again, because of the pricing. It's an Apple box, you're spending thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
They can afford to invest a bit more in the box to make it super sturdy. Ours are more throwaway, so they're not maybe structurally as sound. You can't stand on them.
If the post is literally slung the box out the back of the van, it will break. So
we've had 1 or 2 instances where wholesale orders have had to be returned, which is obviously a bit of a shafting. Yeah. Because whilst we can make a margin on the coffee, we are still paying £1.50 for the packaging, and that gets put in the bin.
So how did we sort that out? Great. This is business 101.
Yeah, we replaced them with flattened boxes, didn't we?
No, but we also have got fragile.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So all our coffee now goes out with just fragile plastered all over on the boxes. Kate, shout out to Kate.
Here's the next one then. A return to paper packaging. As plastic packaging continues to fall out of favour, more brands are turning to paper packaging. Single-use plastics make up 50% of current global waste. Blah, 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 blah. So paper is an affordable, easy to recycle alternative to plastic. The issue, I guess, with that is that, in terms of protecting the coffee from oxidizing. Whoa, if you want to say something, get on the microphone.
We'll be talking about, instead of polymailers, like brown paper bags.
But is that brown paper bag then lined with some sort of film? Which I
Like,
think.
so. Route One,
Yeah.
they were like the biggest company to do like a full shift to
To
recycle packaging, and all their packages now come in like fully recyclable brown bags, no inner
And
protection.
I get that.
But that's closed, so
we
like,
do
it's very
we do that
different.
as well for all of our all our stuff either comes in cardboard or it comes in brown paper.
Yeah.
But I think I guess a t-shirt can have air reaching it.
Yeah.
Whilst I guess coffee, there's issues with, and they say here that they're fully recyclable degassing valves, which can be added to
that's a
paper
big part of
bags.
the problem right now is the valves, isn't it? Because the valves are quite tough to recycle. I think the problem with the food industry as well is if you have to coat the inside of the bag, it has to be something that's food safe as well, that's coating the inside. So I know that people use kind of like a algae based or seaweed based kind of coating now. But again, I don't know if that's usable on, for example, food or coffee industry bags. But I do think they will continue. That stuff's going to evolve.
I like the idea of like
So do I.
paper
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
But it needs to be, again, it's the durable aspect. Like it can't tear.
So we can touch on there as well. Get back to this. Obviously, William and Johnson, another Edinburgh-based roaster, for a while they used the compostable bags, but I think they went back to slightly more sturdy ones. And you know, we obviously looked at that as well, and I think probably their experience was those compostable bags are just not sturdy enough, are they? Like if they do get dropped, they can split. Blah blah blah. So I think there will be enormous progress on that over the next few years.
Yeah. I'm quite excited to see it.
Yeah.
And I guess going back to our initial point about minimum order quantities, MOQs, the issue is then if you need to act fast because something new comes on the market, you might not be able to for 6 months.
Not first, sure.
So maybe it pays to not, pays to have less packaging, but then you're paying through the odds per unit.
Yeah.
Next one is, and I don't really understand this, a strong focus on anti-counterfeit packaging. Consumers are becoming more interested in where their specialty coffee comes from and whether their purchases benefit its producers. Knowing that their coffee has been sustainably and responsibly sourced is becoming increasingly important to more consumers. Therefore, helping verify the origin of a coffee can help roasters protect their brand and add origin information in a novel way. That doesn't feel like anti-counterfeit.
No, it doesn't.
So it says usually anti-counterfeit packaging that prevents tampering is reserved for more high-value items, such as medication or cosmetics. However, roasters can affordably verify their coffee using tools like QR codes.
I get that. But are they saying that maybe someone would copy our packaging and just sell some shit beans?
Get back on the mic.
God,
You know,
we need to cancel
when you get
this
like a
next time.
high-end item, this is a really bad reference, but like a vape or like a coil for a vape, they have like a scratchable code that then you enter on that website to verify it's real.
Oh, really?
Which I get.
That's quite cool.
Yeah, so Apple, you do get that.
I don't think anyone's faking the.
So basically, right now, the theory would be we might print some Onyx boxes and send out guilty pleasures to people for £500 a box.
Although this comes back to a good BrewDog exchange, which has been brought back to light again because BrewDog are going into China. But he did a cool post the other week where someone in Shanghai, I think, just set up a BrewDog bar.
Is that cool? Have they not been cancelled? Are we allowed to talk about BrewDog? Carry on.
You can still talk about a business, maybe not the business owner. Yeah. But I'm like, so BrewDog going into China. But 10 years ago, someone in China just set up a BrewDog bar because you know that they have their bars. I remember that, and it was kind of like used the wrong colors and all that kind of stuff. And he kind of put a message out being like, great to see. But it is quite funny.
Yeah.
How do you stop counterfeiting?
Well,
absolutely impossible. Where is this company based?
China.
Kings of counterfeits.
Whoa.
Kings and queens of counterfeits. So
right, move on to that.
I do just think it's, if you're going to be counterfeited, you're going to be counterfeited.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, to be fair, maybe they have a different view on, like, I don't know what's happening in the rest of the world. I can't imagine that happening in here. Yeah. But it's not to say it's not possible.
Maybe someone right now is selling Cairngorm branded coffee in China or somewhere else.
Or in the Cairngorms.
Maybe.
Next one.
Hopefully we are.
Eliminated best before dates. So they're saying, so because customers are looking for tangible ways to address trillions of dollars worth, they said, of food being wasted annually. So they're trying to discourage people from, because it's not like you can't stop drinking it after the time we say it's best.
Yeah.
It's like, people disagree on this. Some people say it tastes best after 2 months.
Yeah.
Which we've had similar experiences with. But a lot of, I think, how do we put this? I think there's a legal obligation to say it has to be drunk within 6 months, but it doesn't actually depreciate.
So I think they're taking away that legal obligation, though. I think they're trying to say, like, for tomatoes or something in a supermarket, it's like, use your eyes.
Yeah, use your
some
common sense. Yeah.
So
as long as it doesn't have the potential to make you seriously ill.
Yeah.
Pork or
if your coffee beans are moldy, don't use them.
Yeah.
If they are not, if they're not moldy, then there probably is like we say 6 months.
Yeah.
Would be the absolute most. Like if you're drinking coffee after 6 months after it's been roasted, it's probably going to degraded quite a lot.
Like, I think what will happen is it will have faded to the point that it's not as vibrant.
Yeah.
But if people are chucking away good coffee after 6 months, that's, I would say, silly.
Don't.
Unless they're highly passionate about quality coffee. Like on espresso, that is going to taste good.
Yeah.
It's not going to taste as good as if it was properly rested for a couple of weeks. But I don't think that it depreciates to a place where it's not safe to drink or whatever. So I think that's a fair point.
I do think so. On our boxes, I think it says best consumed within 6 months, and I think a lot of roasters say that as well. Like there isn't a date that we tell anyone to have drunk their coffee by, but we have the roast date on it.
I think we just do that because I think we have to. But really, the more sensible thing is to put when it was roasted and for people to use their own judgment. Yeah, like you're all big people, you're all adults. Is this suitable for kids? Yeah. Maybe you're not all adults, but if
I agree. I think just clarity again. I think that's probably a big thing with packaging. Is consumers just want simple clarity on a lot of stuff.
Okay,
next one.
So that's all of them. But here's another one. We go through 2022 best trends and see if any of them have come to life. Oh, should we have a crisp break first?
Yes.
Okay, quick crisp break and then we'll recap. I
honestly can't wait though. This is going to be super exciting. We're going through 2022 coffee packaging trends after the break.
I know I've opened them up upside down. What? But you can insert.
I just need to double check that these are vegan because I think
they are vegan. Maybe should be vegan. Probably
they are.
Probably are vegan.
I love a what's it, so we're back on track with good tasting crisps. So.
Here. This is quite funny. This is maybe too. It's on Packaging Digest, but I think it's maybe too. I think it's maybe.
Roy subscribes to that. It's another one of our subscriptions.
You want to tell everyone what you're eating?
I should have read it before I tried it. It's prawn cocktail, giant Wotsits. I wasn't expecting it to taste like prawn cocktail, so that's caught me a little bit by surprise.
Did you think it was normal?
Oh, it's really... we chatted off air that the one thing with a Wotsit, which I love, a normal cheese Wotsit, Wotsits get all up in your teeth. Like, there's not a bit of my mouth that's now not coated in Wotsit, and it'll be there for the next 2 days, probably, until I brush my teeth.
Put myself through the same pain.
Yeah.
2 I've gone for, so
one
for each side.
They are very good, but not what I was expecting.
I've looked at
so much cheese in my mouth.
Coffee Packaging Trends 2022. 7 different blogs. It's all the same content. So one per guy has gone to some effort and it's been plagiarized.
ChatGPT maybe wrote it.
Yeah, probably has.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it has. Like, honestly, it doesn't make any sense. So the first one, Chris Martin's just popped up in customer support on this plusprinters.com. Are you looking for custom printed boxes? Yeah. I was going to say, shall I say something, a Coldplay lyric, but probably just ruined his day, won't it? He's probably had it so many times. May I have the size and quantity you're looking for? Hey, I'm literally just having a read of your blog.
Yeah.
Jump into conclusions.
That is
I'm just trying to find out about tranquility and packaging.
Whoa!
Which is right. Quickly, let's just give a summary of this. They're so nice.
They're all right. They're not as good as the original What's It, obviously.
They taste very fake, don't they?
Yes. We're like, how much real anything is in here? So crisps, chips. If we're in America, so a lot of our 15 watchers are American. Are supposed to be made out of potatoes or other stuff. What do you think these are made out of?
Well, I know because we've had this conversation
have
a few
we?
times. Well, it's baked corn, isn't it?
It's maize, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, quite a strange ingredient, I would say that.
Yeah. It is funny that, like, they are two completely different products.
They are. When you're thinking of that amazing Mackey's crisp that we had a few weeks ago that you absolutely destroyed. Well, these are terrible crisps. And then you know the guy who makes them. Yeah. They're throwing his business.
Whoa! No, come on. No, they're proper potatoes. But if you say to someone, what are crisps made out of, 9 out of 10 people are going to say potatoes.
Yeah.
They're not going to say, wow, actually, baked maize or potato.
Cornstarch, yeah.
Anyway, I'm having one more, and I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 6.
Whoa!
Maybe lower.
Because of the tooth thing.
I just don't like it. Cheesy Wotsits are great, and the cheese is all up in your grill. I'm not liking prawn cocktail being all up in my grill.
You know the other word for cheesy Wotsits on South Park? Is that non-PC? Cheesy puffs.
Yeah, cheese puffs.
In America, they're called cheese puffs.
Yeah. You can get them in like Waitrose. Waitrose own ones.
That kind of makes sense because they're cheesy puffs. Anyway. Right.
Yeah, so I'm giving them a 6. I'm downgrading it. 6 Creeds. I wonder what Ross Creed would give those, to be fair. Ask him later.
We'll give him one. We should just make him try it every week before we do this.
Yeah.
And then, then you could put on the screen.
You put up a Ross Creed. You'll have seen him on our Instagram last week for St. Patrick's Day. Ross Creed got posted up, looking very sharp.
Yep,
that man's behind the bar 4 days a week at Melville. So, if you want to go speak to Ross Creed, get into Melville and go speak to him.
You're in for a right treat
if
you speak to Ross Creed. Oh, that sounded good in my head. Why? Honestly, some things really do sound good before they come out.
It's weird that you never made it as a musician and songwriter.
I spent a lot of time counting syllables to make sure the flow and the meter of the song lyrics worked actually. So I had a rhyming dictionary. That's where I could refer to that.
Did you?
Yeah. I used to write notes on like full pages that I thought had good content.
If I throw out a word, can you rhyme it?
Probably.
What's it?
That's tough. What's it? Oh, come on. Hot stick.
Great.
What's it? Hot stick.
There we go.
That doesn't work either.
No.
What is what's it? Does not rhyme with anything. Well, everyone will be interested to know if it does.
My favourite bird's a blue tit. Rhymes with what's it, doesn't it?
What's it?
Who doesn't like?
Because it needs to be more than one word, surely. There is.
Right.
Oh, well, here we go.
Oh,
closet.
Yeah, that rhymes.
That would have been
what's
quite
it.
good.
Yeah. ChatGPT's outbrained you again.
Composite. Reposit.
Yeah.
Deposit. Oh, God.
I
love going to the bank and depositing stuff.
I thought you were going to say something worse than that.
Right. So here we go.
Back.
According to Chris Martin, these are the 7 exciting coffee packaging trends.
I hate the top
fit
one
for 2022.
already.
Tranquility in packaging is number 1. What does that mean?
It means if you try your best.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We have actually hit one of these trends. Tranquility in packaging. If you get our pot luck, there's a 50% chance you might get one that says, what does it say?
This too shall pass.
And I think that's what they're referring to here. The past couple of years have been turbulent. This year, many coffee packaging designs are going to be about creating an oasis of serenity in the shop. I guess we kind of done that.
I think that's a ridiculous one to have at number 1.
Yeah.
That makes me lose
but
all confidence.
hopefully it gets better as we go.
Let's go to
number 2, coffee as art. The golden days of coffee are back with a vengeance. The days when coffee was marked as an opiate, or the people slowly distance themselves from poor and desperate origins. Jeez. No longer coffee manufacturing, we're bringing back to where what was in the 19th century.
Can I go grab a quick bag?
Coffee as art.
Which maybe highlights that.
Yeah.
Big shout out to who we've got.
Big shout out to, I think it's going to be Curve. Yeah.
These are very arty.
That is arty. And assembly, I would say as well. Ooh.
Oh,
Grand Slam.
that's some art.
That's going to be yeah. That went really well. So we'll not do that next year.
But it was art.
Yeah, so this is
Curve, yeah, very much artistic.
yeah.
Especially this one.
Yeah, that is.
So this is their fancier one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got? But that's just those two.
Yeah,
that's a fair one then.
rare and unique.
But then a lot of these are pretty wishy-washy. Like style, the next one is style and sophistication. A third wave of coffee is about more than authenticity. It's also about style and sophistication. We're going to see elegant coffee packaging designs.
I think that's very
I
elegant.
would say
as well.
ours is elegant.
Ours is quite elegant as well.
Quite.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
More than that.
Quite.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The packaging design will focus on... I'm going on to the next one, which is on the go or at home. As New Year starts, people will begin leaving their homes again, and you expect some exciting developments on the packaging front. Why do they think that people are literally... Every experience they have in COVID, they're going to be relating back to coffee. Like, we're allowed back of our house now. We better look for coffee that's very transportable.
That's you. I'm like, you think about is coffee? He wakes up in the morning, it's like, ding!
Yeah.
I wonder how I'm going to cope with COVID and coffee.
So
today.
design will focus on convenience, portability, and ease of use.
Fair.
Okay. The next one, Y2K aesthetic.
Yeah.
Fancy.
I don't know if that's been the case.
Nostalgic feel.
Like harking back to Y2K.
Not about posting old logos on new coffee bag. It's about creating something that triggers memories of the good old days. So, a classic example of this, Process.
Yes, with
their VHS.
VHS, there we go. I would say some of these have come true, but this is always a problem. This is...
Yeah, when you've got 7 predictions, probably.
Yeah, exactly. The world we live in now, you just write anything
Yeah.
and post it online, and people are like,
Well, the next one's perfect imperfection. The growing concern for ethics is also going to make its mark in coffee packaging designs. Many consumers are interested in learning about the source of their favorite blends and how they were made. That means brands will need to include more information than just a logo and some jargon-heavy marketing speak. A lot of people are trying to create branding that's honest, transparent, and trustworthy. That's why the days of marketing your coffee with broad promises are over. Furthermore, the demand for eco-friendly packaging will translate into more recycled and recyclable boxes, bags, and cups. This is not just about looking green, it's also about creating products that do good for the environment.
They've literally covered everything. So yeah, every trend, everything will be a trend in 2022, which they got right. Yeah. Last one.
The last one is, the reason I'm having to read these is because the headers are so vague. It's number 7, final one, Mischief Galore.
That's like our ground.
That sounds like a Austin Powers movie.
It does.
Much has been said about the growing demand for coffee to have a kick. That means we're going to see more brands join the movement by creating bolder, spicier blends.
Don't know if that happened, did it?
Brands will begin to have more fun with packaging by showcasing characters that are a mix of cute and satirical. Yeah, Mr. Finn Russell.
There you go.
Well, again, they've said like 5 different things in that. Anyway.
Yeah. So some of that. Let's sack this off then, because I'm like, what are your predictions, packaging wise? What's the future?
Okay. Yes.
For the next 2023 and then into 2024, what's packaging going to look like?
So for me, we're going to go back to less.
Is more.
I honestly think cardboard boxes will become less attractive to the consumer.
Yeah.
Not to say that's good or a bad thing if you can continue with them. Obviously, a lot of what we do in this podcast is we basically rinse ourselves for things that we have done, which maybe isn't the most advisable thing. But
to facilitate that, though, plastic packaging has got to become more recyclable.
Yeah, but the problem is if you get rid of more packaging, i.e. like a box vessel or whatever, the bag then has to be durable enough to withhold transport and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So as we know, compostable packaging, as an example, or paper, might not really be enough. That's why the issue we have, and we have had for the past 2 years plus, has been that there isn't what we all need on the market. Yeah. We can't say you can't be a consumer saying, oh, they don't do enough.
Yeah.
It's not recyclable, blah, blah, blah. Because the answer isn't really out there.
Yeah.
The answer, I suppose, is you have to do more substantial packaging, which is recyclable, like aluminium or glass. But
Which
these
Manifesto
take a lot of power to manufacture.
Oh, for sure.
And they are reusable. But our experience really is that it's quite hard to get an average consumer to reuse something.
Yeah, for sure. I think a big part of the problem in the UK as well is that, like the Dutch coffee pack bags that we get, which are a triangle with a 4 in them in terms of recyclability.
Yeah.
In the UK, those are not recyclable, whereas in Holland and Germany, those are recyclable. And I think that's a UK government issue. That's a UK technology issue, that those are not recyclable, whereas, everyone else is getting away with it somehow.
Yeah. So, coffee needs to be stored correctly. It can't be stored in crappy plastic.
Yeah.
That can be recycled. So it's a bit of an issue.
Which is type 1s and 2s that you'll see in those triangles.
Which is what, like, strawberries might come in, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like water bottles, those kind of things are very, very recyclable. But in the UK, those bags, our bags are not. I think it's like you could take them. The horrible one I always hate, and it's like, recycle at your supermarket or something like that. Nobody's doing that.
Isn't it mind-blowing that a bottle of Coca-Cola is more recyclable than like some pliable plastic coffee bag made of one material? You'd think.
Definitely, because obviously single-use plastics are getting a really, really bad rep, and I get that. But I'm like, a Coca-Cola bottle is very, very recyclable, which is good. But obviously, we do want to be doing less single-use. But you think of our the coffee bags that we've got here, they are very single-use. Yeah, so that's a type 4 as well. Fully recyclable is what it says on the bag.
Exposing them. And
we know it is fully recyclable in Holland and Germany. It's just that is not fully recyclable in the UK. So,
but they've done the best they can.
100%.
Which is the same as us. We're the same. We're 4.
We're all in this category
LDP,
right now.
whatever. So, I mean, I guess a prediction will be that someone will crack the code for that, hopefully.
You've talked a little bit about rice paper packaging to me previously.
I'm very fond of that.
Is that, we don't know. We maybe need to look more into that. I'd also be interesting, like I said, I chatted to Catherine at Steampunk, this would be a year ago, Glasgow Coffee Festival, and it's like, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's trying different things. It'd be really interesting when you should maybe dig more into the 5 Elephant. Like, what have they done? We should maybe get them in Frederick Street soon.
100%. We haven't had them in a while. Be keen for that.
With the new packaging.
With the new packaging. So I think that's for me. It's like it's all businesses very much. It is about making money. At the end of the day, you can't run a business and not afford to pay your staff. And I think as a result of that, decision making can be quite price led. I've been listening to a lot of stuff recently about like if there's something you really want, you have to work out what you have to sacrifice to get that. And it's like, there is a seesaw, yin and a yang of everything in life. It's like, you can't have everything. You can't eat cake all day, which you love, but then also want to look good. It depends what your definition of look good is, to be fair. But, I mean, it's like, you can't be physically, fit.
Keep going.
Try and think about
what have you?
While we're on it,
what about if you won cake?
You can save lots of money if you want to spend all of your salary on cake.
No, I fully get what you're saying, but I think our generation, I think our parents' generation, very good at compromising. They're like, I will save money and I will not do X.
Yes.
Whereas our generation is like, I will do everything I possibly can.
Nothing in moderation, but I want everything.
Yeah, I want everything. And I want to have money in the bank at the end of the month. And you're like, but you just did everything. You went on holiday. You then have gone on every night out.
You've literally lived your best life.
Yeah, you're getting so many avocado toasts. And that's why I don't have any money, because I love me some avocado toast.
Let's go to Melbourne, get it free. Put perks of the job. So I would say, like, we want to have our packaging look incredible.
Yeah.
Customers want great packaging, but they also don't want to pay as much for things.
100% agree.
So I think that's where we have to decide. And when we talk quite freely and honestly and probably quite liberally about like, oh, we're going to just change. We're happy to change that, but actually, we have a lot of conversations in the background to settle that concept with each other before we have these conversations. So it might sound like we're talking crap about our boxes, but actually, these are like long conversations we have about, over the course of months and years about like wanting to make changes. So it's not just like, oh, now we just suddenly don't think boxes are good. Yeah. It's more a case of like, we understand the market desires something, which is they want to spend less, and we can still give them quality coffee if we can try and spend less on our packaging. So I think that's where it's like, if people want to spend less, then they have to maybe sacrifice the quality of the packaging experience. Like, I would be happy to say to Apple, I won't take the box if you give it to me for 50 quid cheaper.
So do you know, a very interesting, if I told you about this, you're about to say that if you lose an AirPod, for example, you can go on, which is, again, you would not expect Apple to do this, but you can go and buy an individual AirPod. It comes in a fully unbranded, crappy cardboard box. And I like that obviously they love their, they love the upfront, but then they're not wasting money. When I'm getting my single AirPod, I don't need all singing, all dancing packaging. So
you've had the experience already.
All I was going to say is the big one is when they dropped plugs recently from all their iPhones. Yeah. Which was definitely them just trying to save money, but maybe also trying to say, oh, we need less packaging.
But how many Apple plugs do you have kicking about your house?
True, but also like there's a big change between USB-C and USB 3.0.
But they don't even come with the cable, do they?
Yeah, they do.
They do come with the cable.
Oh, do they? But they used to come with headphones, which is quite funny.
Soon come with the cable.
Yeah, they did used to come with headphones.
It used to get a lot more, and a sticker.
Yeah.
They still got stickers. Thank goodness.
I completely agree with you. I think customers are probably going to get more price sensitive. We're obviously in a cost of living crisis as well. So
not a recession, but a recession.
He's Mr. Conservative over here. He's like, whatever Jeremy Hunt says, he's like, yeah.
Well, I'm saying
he was like, we're not in a technical recession or something like that.
Yeah. I'm bagging him. I'm saying apparently it's not a recession.
Apparently not. All I know is the price of everything is so much more than it was. Yeah. I'm like, bread. How expensive is bread right now?
Spreadable Lurpak.
Oh, I've seen butter cheese. So why don't you just go vegan and cut it out?
There was something. I was in the shop and
sunflower oil.
I was like, I can't get it. What was it?
So
maybe halloumi fries. I think I did convince myself I needed them eventually, but
all the fries.
I love halloumi fries.
Cost of everything is going up. Cost of coffee has significantly gone up. We've chatted about that before. That cost has, to a certain extent, definitely, not to a certain extent, it definitely has been passed on to our consumers. Like, we have passed on the increased costs. We're actually seeing coffee prices coming down, though, next year. But I think generally we're in the market to try and make stuff cheaper. Like, that's the way we want to go, I think, in the next 6 months, is what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome.
And I think it's going to be interesting just to see how everyone responds to... Because, like, this is the thing about being a business owner, is that you have the power to make all the decisions just about, depending, the level of senior people you hire. But, like for us, certainly we are in control of how the packaging, the routes we take, and so many specialty coffee businesses are as well. And it's always amazing to see the quality of packaging that people who are not packaging designers are able to come up with, to dream up and to find the manufacturers for. And a lot of that time it's a lot of thinking outside the box, and there's a lot of creativity, and it's really impressive. Yeah. And I'm always like fascinated to see like the direction that people go. And I think the next few years, even more so, just as people are kind of rightly being forced into having to appear to be doing the right thing environmentally, and but then also having to juggle that with having to be price sensitive. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see the direction that people do go. But I know for us the most important thing is the coffee, and we want to find ways of reflecting that in a way that allows our community of coffee lovers to be able to engage with it. And I guess the takeaway here, the conclusion would be that spending £2 on a box for that opportunity to try a coffee probably is in the future, not the direction we want to go, but it's been fun.
Agreed. It has been fun. We've really enjoyed having the boxes. Kate, our roastery manager, probably hasn't enjoyed the boxes as much as we have.
That is a very interesting thing as well. You know, like the cost of labor to create the boxes, to put them all together, even to get the cards printed. Like after this, I need to sit down and do that for two different coffees. All that stuff is quite substantial. Yeah, and it does factor in. So.
Yeah, it does. It's interesting. Just again, very quickly on that, when you see other roasters obviously post videos of them packing up orders and stuff like that, we all have. There's quite a manual element, apart from like you're saying with the red brick, like red brick.
Yeah, well, Square Mile,
the Square Mile's red brick one. It's like it's quite labor intensive putting coffee into retail boxes and bags. So I do think that will change as well, because that labor element is obviously got a lot more expensive over the last year as well. So
for sure.
And
that looks like we're approaching the hour mark, so probably time to end it, to can it. So I hope you have enjoyed. Hopefully this has been an
uninterrupted.
No,
I was interrupted.
No, yeah. Hopefully there's not been anything which we've. No one watches this far, do they?
Nah, exactly. Have a lovely week, everyone. Yeah. Well, have a lovely weekend, because it'll come out on Thursday.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying what we're doing, as always, please do engage with it. Let us know, what you'd like us to talk more on, because we never do really fully know if people are bored of us bantering on about packaging, or they want to hear more about the intricacies of how we run our business. Or just about anything. We also want to try and get more of our team involved, and more of some guests from the rest of the coffee industry, especially in Edinburgh. So look out for that soon. And please do subscribe. It helps us a lot. And tell your friends. Just share it in some way or another.
Share it. If you've got a negative opinion, though, don't share it. Just keep that.
85. No. 85% of the people watching this right now have not subscribed, according to our analytics. Wow. So it would help us massively if you could subscribe. We sometimes have to take our videos off and on and off and on a bit. So to make sure you do know when it comes off and on, get those notifications, hit the bell. Let's go. Goodbye.
Let's go. Like that.